The Week 11 Waiver Wire show of Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to get 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you listen to, this is J Mark. You can find me on the X at JMarkFootball. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB, the Old Fashioned Football contest or podcast, not contest. I imagine if you're tuned in, you know who you're listening to, but if not, welcome. Maybe you're just perusing YouTube and our faces popped up. You clicked on it, and here you are. Before I keep going, I got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the exit, the Mark. How you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm fine, except I have no idea why contest popped out of my mouth.
You've been doing a lot of weird things today, so we're just going to keep moving.
Have I been doing a
You
lot of weird
spelled
things?
football wrong.
I did spell football wrong. That's why we were late. The graphic, it said FOOTBAL. So just missing an L. It's because I never take an L nowhere. I'm a winner. Shout out to the chat. Josiah said chop. He noticed we were late. And then he says, woo. And shout out to Wesley. Good
Hello,
evening. Hope you both are doing all right. This is the end of week 10 tonight. The last game in week 10. We're coming on to week 11, which that means we're 3 to 4 weeks away from the playoffs.
Yes, it does, which
Playoffs.
is crazy. We have another 4 teams on a bye week this week as well. So,
True.
Waivers are probably or might be important as some of your starters are going to be out this week.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, Bucks, Panthers, Giants.
Yeah. So for Cardinals, no Kyler Murray, no James Conner, no Trey McBride, no Baker or Bucky on the Bucks.
Tyrone Tracy.
No Tyrone Tracy on the Giants. No, I don't have anybody on the Panthers, but maybe I guess I have Leggett in a couple dynasty leagues. But maybe you have Panthers players. Maybe you do believe in Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young. Chuba's actually had a pretty good year. He's really surprised me. So that's been interesting to say the least. There were a lot of I know we'll get into this kind of with the duds, but there were a lot of disappointing scores from your normal studs. I have a league where I scored 55 total points, and that is a PPR league. So ouch. Yeah.
Is there ouch?
Yes.
Just ouch. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Guys like Saquon Barkley only had like 8 points. It was rough. Wesley says he's doing good. Took both fantasy leagues this week. Nice job. Some of you will be in the playoffs, not I. I'm hoping I will be in multiple leagues, obviously. And then no James Conner. That's going to be bad for Josiah. It's getting to the nitty gritty, really. I mean, it's getting intense. Every single week is mattering. You got to win every week now, unless you have a strong lead like we both do in the 101, number 1 and number 2. You did get the high score this week, so Congratulations.
Good.
I still won, but I didn't have high score. You had high score. So, we got, you can see if you're watching on YouTube, you can see what we're going through: injury reports, studs, duds, cert throws, underdog lineups, waivers, best bets, and whiskey. But speaking of whiskey, what are we drinking today?
Well, we will be trying and doing a review on 2XO American Oak Bourbon.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is one I've seen for a while. And then I kind of have told you, like, man, I really want to try that sometime. And you came home with it. So that's just one of the reasons I love you, honey. You come home with a whiskey when I say I want whiskey. As always, thank you for tuning in to not the Sports Gambling Podcast, the Old Fashioned Football Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. if you can head over to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating, it helps a lot in the algorithms. And we just appreciate it in general. We like seeing that you guys like us. And even if you don't, leave a 5-star. You can lie to us. That's fine. Should we talk a little injury report, Mer?
Yes, let's
All right.
get to it. Just announced around 5:30 today, 5:30 Central. Let's just
Yes.
we're central here. Tyreek Hill has a torn ligament in his wrist, but he's gonna play tonight.
Now, just real quick on that.
Mm-hmm.
It said that he told somebody that. Now, you would think the team would have announced that. So is he just exaggerating?
I don't
Maybe
know.
he doesn't really.
I don't know
see.
his life. I don't know. I'm not going to assume. We have an injury update on Dak Prescott. He is expected to have season-ending surgery. Also, another update. There's speculation that Chris Olave may not play
Oh,
another down of football due
Yeah.
to his concussion history. So keep an eye on that. But he'll likely be out the rest of the season. That's
Yeah.
really unfortunate there.
It is absolutely good player. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's part of the game, unfortunately. So I wonder if he comes back, if he will wear the Guardian cap, which Tua said he's not wearing, because of personal reasons, which I
Mhm.
don't understand. It doesn't affect
Is
anything.
this Olave's fifth?
I believe it's his 5th dating back to college, and he's only been in the NFL 5 years now, I think.
Has
4
it
or
been
5?
5 already?
4 or 5, I think.
Okay, I don't know.
But yeah,
It's-
so that's a short amount of time to have 5 concussions. A couple other injuries. Dalton Kincaid left the game with a knee injury. We're still waiting to hear the severity of that. He did not come back though. Aaron Jones day-to-day with rib injury. He did come back and play after he got injured. And then Nico Collins, I thought for sure he was playing. He was activated from injured reserve. They said he was good to go, and then he did not. He was not good to go.
I know. I had him in 3 or 4 leagues, and I had to make. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I had, even if they were the worst of the worst, I had players because I have him in 2 dynasties, so those are pretty deep.
Sure, yeah.
I think, I put
Well,
Bobby Tree in.
Bobby Tree. Did he get any points? I didn't pay
I didn't
attention.
check.
Yeah. In the league that I scored 55 points, I guess to my defense, Nico Collins was in, and I did not have anybody I could put in. But
Ouch.
yeah. I expect he'll be back next week. They play on Monday Night Football, so now he has a whole 10 days to rest or whatever. I guess they didn't play Thursday. They played yesterday. They have extended rest, so it's not like he has to play Thursday or Sunday. So I assume he's going to play against the Cowboys, that in-state rivalry. But I guess we'll see. I mean, who knows? I thought he was going to play this week, and I was wrong.
You were.
Yeah. So
they did say that it was going to be announced like Sunday morning. I was looking over everything. I feel like I looked over my lineups 5 times between Wednesday to Sunday because there were so many changes.
Yeah.
But they did say they weren't going to announce it until like 90 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
So
true.
we knew Sunday morning there's that possibility.
And everything I said says, well, they think he's going to go. It'll be a game time decision, but they think he's going to go. And I trusted that. I trusted you bastards. You know who was back though? Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
Not the usual points you expect from him. I think he got 16 in a PPR, but I mean, he's back anyways. He's back. So that's good. Good for everybody that just hung on and waited patiently. You drafted him with the 101, and you sat there going, is this guy ever going to play?
Well, he's back for playoffs.
He's back for
to
playoffs.
hopefully get you into the playoffs and then carry you through.
And say the problem is every league that I drafted him in, that really fucked my season, having him 101 and then not being able to draft till it comes all the way back, and then some injuries. So I don't know if I'm going to make the playoffs. Thanks.
Excuses. You could have done trades. You could have been doing stuff. You could have been working waivers.
This is true.
I don't want to hear it.
This is true. Let's go over our studs and duds real quick, shall we?
Yeah. I'll cover studs.
You do the studs.
Let's do this.
If you will.
This guy was a dud last week, but he redeemed himself. Came back a stud this week. Kyler Murray, he was projected 17.8. He finished with 28.74 fantasy points with 266 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 21 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Pretty good day.
It was. Running back, we've got Bijan Robinson. He was projected 19.6, finished with 27.9. He had 116 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 3 catches for 28 yards. This is the type of performance fantasy football managers have been hoping for out of Bijan.
Yeah, especially me in the leagues I've had him in.
Yes. Then we've got a wide receiver. Our stud this week is Jamar Chase with the best performance we've seen this year. He was projected 17.7, finished with 49 points or more, depending on your league settings. I think I had him finish at 55.5 in one of the leagues. It was really nice, unless you were playing against him, which I did play against him in one league.
Yeah. Well, that was Thursday night too. So a lot of people go into the weekend just completely screwed already.
Yeah. Our family, just for reference, like our family league has bonuses for 50+ yard touchdowns and is PPR. So he put up 71 points against me.
Ouch.
That was the one where it hurt.
You played him and Burrow and Mark Andrews.
I did.
So yeah, I noticed. I looked after Thursday night, and your projection was less than the 3 people he had already had play.
It was bad. It was brutal. But anyway, yeah, Jamar Chase, he had 264 receiving yards on I don't have his catches, but he also had three touchdowns.
I think it was 11, if I remember right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It was up there.
Yeah, unbelievable performance.
All right, okay. We have one more stud.
Yeah.
Who I also went against.
Oh.
I've played him in many leagues. I mean, I've had him rostered in many leagues, but at tight end, we just mentioned him, Mark Andrews. He was projected 7.4, finished with 15.8 on 6 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. We advised a lot of people to start him on the start-sit show last weekend, so I'm glad he finished with one of the top tight end performances for everybody.
Yeah, it's always good when, especially on Thursday nights, those are always nerve-wracking when people are asking, like, for the Thursday players, because you don't want to advise them wrong and then they start their week shitty, you know.
Yes.
For the duds, not used to seeing this name as a dud, Jaden Daniels. He was projected 23.9 points, finished with 8.5. He didn't really have a bad game. He threw for 202 yards, but only rushed for 5. He had no touchdowns. I mean, they were competitive, but they just ran the ball very well without him, obviously. Running back dud, Javonte Williams, projected 9.6, finished with 1.7. It appears the Broncos are hoping to get more efficient by using Audric Estime. Williams only had 1 carry. It was really interesting to see.
It was.
Wide receiver dud, Brian Thomas Jr., projected 10 points. He finished with 2.2. He's had a great rookie season. I mean, there's no denying that. I just don't know if he can sustain it with Mac Jones at quarterback. Mac Jones is the quarterback now. Trevor Lawrence are saying could miss the rest of the year. So we went with just he's doubtful to out to he may be gone the rest of the year. That scares me about having Brian Thomas right now. And then tight end dud. I heard you complain about this guy. Hunter Henry, projected 8.5 points, finished with 1.9. He only had 1 catch and 4 yards. Tight end Austin Hooper had a much better day for them.
It drove me crazy every time because we're watching the game. Every time I going to Hooper, I started I sat Laporta and put Hunter Henry in.
Yeah.
That it was just not okay. That was only one league I did that in. But it did not go in my favor, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Let's see. Philly Mike OG, day 2 homeless, enjoying the game tonight in my car, but I'm cozy, got food, Wi-Fi, and have a drink. Well, hopefully that turns around for you.
Yes.
Sorry to hear that, but looks like you're an Eagles fan. Go Eagles. Nick Fortune says, going against Jamar Chase in a league, I really wish they would have gotten me a steak before a butt kicking from him. I'm sure he wanted to say something else there, but dud Aaron Rodgers, terrible game. He also added. Josiah saying Aaron is always a dud, and Wesley saying, how about the Bills defense? Yeah. They did play very well. The pick sixes. I don't know what's going on with Joe Flacco. I mean, he had looked so good, and now they benched Anthony Richardson. He comes in and he's not looked good at all.
He's not. I don't think he's supposed to play long term. he's good for the 3 games, and he's going to give you amazing results.
Well, they've showed him on the sideline, and he looks tired.
Yeah,
I mean, he's sitting there like.
He didn't come out of retirement to be full time.
Right. Yeah.
He was ready to be like the
back up. I'll come in the last 4 games or something. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He's not been playing well. And I thought he'd be able to sustain it, but I guess not. Miranda, real quick before we keep going, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about Underdog Fantasy?
Absolutely. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. We're talking NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts, and you can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. We're going to be giving away our picks here in a little bit, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, head on over to underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, that's underdogfantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN.
All right, we are back. Yeah, we will do Underdog pretty soon here. But before we do, we got to talk a little Sir Throws a Lot. And of course, we have the legendary Chicago Bears quarterback to bring it in for us.
This is Jim Miller, former Chicago Bears quarterback, and now it's time for Sir Throws a Lot.
So we do this every week. It's just who threw the ball the most times. Last week, oddly enough, it was Jameis Winston, threw it 46 times. Murr, who's this week Sir Throws a Lot?
This week, it's Joe Burrow. He threw the ball 56 times, completed 34 of those for 428 yards and 4 touchdowns, including 2 long touchdown passes to Jamar Chase. The Ravens defense, not so good.
No, not good at all.
It might be a good idea to pay attention to those matchups that they have and start quarterbacks playing them.
Yeah, they've just been really bad against quarterbacks, I guess. So that's been interesting. And Wesley says 19 points from the Bills defense in one league. See, so many leagues are getting away from defenses, and I still really enjoy having a defense and a kicker, especially when you can have them put up 19 points. I didn't check, but I imagine Detroit's kicker, Jake Bates, he had 2 50-plus yard field goals, and he had some other ones in there. I bet he scored some nice points. It's always fun just to beat somebody with your defense or kicker. It's like you win by 3, but it's because your defense had 19. Our Mark saying Jim Miller's intro never gets old. Yeah, he never did much for the Bears, but it's still nice to hear him intro the Sir Throws a Lot. Let's talk about a little fantasy football picks on Underdog Fantasy. And like you said, you can go over and sign up using promo code OFFSGPN. Helps us out if you decide you want to try it out. If you use that code, helps you out because you get your instant pick special. You get your deposit bonus. I mean, all sorts of good things. But Miranda, I'm going to let you lead the way for tonight's picks, if that's good.
Absolutely. I've got Tua higher than 22.5 completions. He's had 25 and 28 the last 2 games, and the Rams are the 25th against the pass. So look for the Dolphins to try and take advantage there. I've also got Puka higher than 5.5 receptions. In games he hasn't been hurt or ejected, he's exceeded this. I've also got Kyren Williams higher than half a touchdown. The streak broke last week. Otherwise, he has had a touchdown every game. He's going to bounce back and continue a new touchdown streak. I've got Devon Achane higher than 58.5 rushing yards. He's exceeded this in each of the last 3 games, running for 77, 97, and 63. I've also got Jonnu Smith higher than 3.5 receptions. He's had 4 or more in each of the last 4 games. $10 pays you $102.30. If you do a flex entry and you hit all of them, it pays $51.10. If you miss one and get 4, it'll pay you $17 with that flexed entry.
Nice. I like that. I like it. Here's mine. Puka Nacua, 8 targets. Higher. I liked your angle, but I'm going for the targets just in case maybe Matt Stafford's a little off tonight. Kyren Williams, half touchdown higher. Completely agree with you there. It's not often as much as I doubted Kyren Williams last year and going into this year. It's not often he does not score a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, 64.5 receiving yards higher. This guy, he's a beast, and he's back, and I think they're going to utilize both him and Puka. Doing a little kicker props here. Jason Sanders, the Dolphins kicker, 1.5 field goals made. I think they'll be able to move the ball, but maybe the Rams, slow them a little bit. And one of the reasons they're going to slow them Jared Verse is going to have half sack higher. I think that he's going to have a sack. He's had one in each of the last 2 games, and I think he continues that streak. $10 will pay a 126.60. A flex entry, all will pay 63.30, or 4 will pay 21.10. All right, a little underdog fantasy action. Bates got 12 for Josiah. Randy needs Puka to have a monster game, and Nick throwing in Puka. Eagles defense got 26, going against the Cowboys, who, without Dak Prescott, only threw for 66 yards between Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. It was interesting to see Trey Lance get on the field again. He's that's got to go down as a really bad trade by the 49ers. They traded up to get Trey Lance, and he just sucked. And they ended up trading him, I believe, for a 4th rounder because Jerry Jones loves overpaying for people. He did it this year. He did it last year. And so we'll see what he has. Nick saying no DeMarcus Robinson love tonight. It's worth a sprinkle over receiving yards, 27.5. and an anytime touchdown. Well, we haven't got to our best bets. Maybe one of us will hit on him then. I don't know.
I do need him to have a good game because he is who I swapped Nico out for.
He was your swap.
Yeah,
okay.
one of the swaps.
I like it. Hey, we're rolling right along. I think we should just start right into these waivers.
Let's do it. I'll kick us off with quarterback.
Yeah, please do.
I've got Bo Nix. He's rostered a little bit higher, still under that 50% that we keep it under, but 49% on ESPN, 44 on Sleeper. And believe it or not, he's the 9th ranked quarterback right now. He runs well, he's throwing well, and he just faced a tough Chiefs defense and played really well. He had 2 touchdowns and now has matches against Atlanta, who just let Carr get 20 fantasy points, and then Las Vegas, who really just hasn't been very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised to see, he's still out there under that 50%.
Yeah, me too. And they almost beat the Chiefs. That would have been a nice win for him. You mentioned Derek Carr, who just had 20 fantasy points. That's my quarterback waiver. He's rostered in 12.3% of leagues on ESPN, 17% on Sleeper. Back from injury. I think he's finding some success in this offense, even without Chris Olave, obviously. He threw for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns this weekend against the Falcons. Obviously there's not a lot of league winners available on the waivers right now, but I think he's good depth for you.
Correct. I think that this is more of if, we have those 4 teams on a bye right now.
Yeah.
Or if you, I don't know. I don't know who you rostered, but maybe you just really didn't roster any good quarterbacks. But if you don't have a top 12 quarterback, people really should be looking at Nix.
Yeah, for sure. Bo Nix is a great option. And I know I normally only carry 1 quarterback on my roster, depending on the roster sizes, but ours that have only 6 or 7 bench spots, I normally
non-super, obviously.
Yeah, non-super flex. I normally only have 1 quarterback. So say my quarterback's Kyler Murray, I'm SOL this league. So this week. So I'm gonna have to pick up one of these guys.
Right. Running back, we mentioned him a little earlier, Audric Estime. This is a very low roster, rostered in 1.1% of ESPN, 7% of Sleeper, but not enough people listened last week when we brought him up. So I threw him back on the list because, we had heard that he could get more work, and then he did get more work by a lot. He ran the ball 14 times. The next closest to this on the team was a wide receiver, Marvin Mims, who ran it 3 times. And then McLaughlin ran it twice, and we just said, Javonte Williams just the 1 time. So if this continues like this, Estime owns this backfield now.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting to see. A lot of times they say, we gotta, we're gonna give this guy some more carries, but you never know how it's really going to shake out. Well, yeah. Obviously they were serious about it this time. Channing checking in saying, "What's up, guys? Cheers. Beers." How's it going, Channing? Hope you're doing well up in Canada. Let us know in the chat who you think will win the Grey Cup, because that is coming up November 17th. The Argonauts face the Blue Bombers. For those of you that don't know the CFL, make sure you check out the CFL Gambling Podcast that I co-host with Colby Dant, which I was sitting next to you. We were watching the Argos game, and we saw Chad Kelly get hurt. Now, I'm not a doctor. I know I went to school for a while, but I'm not a doctor. But I called it. I said to you, I said, that's his tibia. I said, what's that big bone in the front? Not the fibula, the other one. You said tibia. I said, he just broke it. I guarantee you. And that's what it ended up being. So Dr. J Mark in the house. Back to our waivers for running back. I got Gus Edwards. He's back from injury. He's rostered in 20.6% of leagues, 19% on sleeper. He ran the ball 10 times to J.K. Dobbins 15, showing that this will likely function as a two-back system like they originally thought. And with those 10 carries, he had 50 yards he had 55 yards, compared to J.K. Dobbins, who only had 50 on 15. So he's a little more effective too. Hassan Haskins got the short yardage goal line carry and ended up scoring the touchdown. But I think those could go to Gus going forward. I mean, he's a bruiser back too. J.K. Dobbins probably going to be more likely the finesse guy. So now you got Gus running the ball more efficiently and potentially getting those goal line carries. He could really help you out in a bind. Like maybe don't have James Conner this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. At wide receiver here, just giving a quick shout out to everybody tuning in on Insta. Just flipped over there quick. So welcome everybody.
Well, who do we got on Insta? Let's say hi
Margie.
Hey, Margie.
And Season.
Hey, Season.
Hello. All right. Wide receiver?
Yeah.
My waiver?
Go
All
for
right.
it.
We have Quentin Johnston, who is only rostered in 45% of leagues. I'm giving out a little bit higher percentages, I've noticed this week, but we have to talk about.
Worry about the grades. We don't want to get graded poorly. So
just zip it over there. I feel like we have to take back some of the bad things we've said about Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, well,
especially after he was terrible his rookie season. It looks like they've maybe carved out a role for him. He did miss 2 games due to an injury, but is back now. And he has scored a touchdown in 2 straight games. In 7 out of 7 games, he has 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, so when he's healthy, he's fine in the end zone. I know Harbaugh said at the beginning of the year, we have a role for Quentin Johnston, and I laughed at it. But obviously they did. So nothing to laugh at. Nick is saying, correction, I was a Civil War doctor. That's true. And Channing's going for the Bombers. The Chad Kelly injury going to mess it up for the Argos. They did sign
back. They
Brian
announced
Scott.
it today.
Yeah. We may have known. We may have known a little before, but they did announce officially today that Brian Scott is back. My wide receiver, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a guy that, I mean,
MVS.
He just doesn't go away. He was like a Sir Drops a lot for the Chiefs, and he's rostered in 2 or less percent of leagues. Yeah, no, Sir Throws a lot, Sir Drops a lot.
We could work that in. He has the most fumbles.
So it's possible this was a fluke game for him, but he's a veteran who he's been on the Packers. He's been on the Chiefs. These are good teams that coach well. So if he can learn, I mean, he can play well. He had 109 yards though this week, 2 touchdowns, and with so many injuries at wide receiver for the Saints, this might be the new favorite guy for Derek Carr. I mean, he might fit right into the target share that Chris Olave is vacating.
He could. It's possible. Something to definitely watch.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. He's a guy where I kind of have a feeling, not a lot of people pick him up this week. We'll be saying something about him again next week.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Tight end. I have Jatavian Sanders. He is rostered in 0.8% of leagues on ESPN.
Yeah.
10% on Sleeper. We don't normally pump the Panthers up, especially when Bryce Young is quarterbacking. However,
I do love this dude, though. I mean,
yes, Sanders has been getting involved on a regular basis. He had a touchdown this week. And even though he only had 2 targets, the previous week, he had 5 targets for 87 yards. And in the past 6 weeks, he's had 25 targets. So this is more of a deeper league play or a keeper play, but he's worth a stash. And, just depending on injuries, I was looking at one of my leagues where I have my 4 main players on injured reserve, season-ending injuries. It's in a keeper league where I have some of them contracted. I can't just drop them. I have to look to the future, so they have to stay there. My injured reserve is full, taking up 2 of our tiny bench spots. And then,
according to Cody, tiny bench.
Is this in our league? This
Oh, I
might
don't
this
know.
is a different league,
Oh,
but it has a
okay.
tiny bench. I think there's only like 6 spots on it.
Tiny house, tiny bench.
So, anyway, I was really hurting with bye weeks this last weekend, so I don't
Yeah.
know. It's not going to look good for me this weekend either.
Yeah, well, maybe this guy could help you out too. Dawson Knox, rostered in 1.2% at ESPN, 4% of sleeper. This is obviously dependent on Dalton Kincaid's injury, so you kind of got to watch for that. But if you have a spot, I don't think it hurts to pick him up as an insurance policy, especially if Kincaid's your main tight end. He left the game with that knee injury, and Knox is the next guy up. Coleman has already been ruled out for next week. That just flashed across like right as we're getting ready to go live. Amari Cooper he's getting a little bit better, but he's continued missing time, so he might continue to miss. And now if Kincaid misses, there's going to be a lot of targets that are vacated and ready for somebody to step in.
I would definitely be looking at Knox to come
Yeah.
in and definitely take up some of the target share. Don't know how much, but
Yeah. I mean, in this
he's
guy
going to
that-
get some of it.
he's been a top 12 in this offense before, so there's no reason he can't get back to that, in my opinion. So just keep an eye on it. And like I said, if you have the spot, I would go ahead and pick him up now. But that's if you have the spot. Before we keep going, I want to let everybody know that we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 40 years. Bet anywhere. It's in the U.S., but also a ton of locations internationally. And they just launched an all-new live betting experience. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning-fast payouts. Your Dogecoin is up. You're making a ton off of it. Now you can use that Dogecoin and make some bets with it. Make even more money. Murr, I ask you this every time. Who are you going to go with tonight for the first score? We have Dolphins touchdown, Dolphins field goal, Rams touchdown, Rams field goal.
You know, you ask me this every time, and I'm not any more prepared than any other show you've asked me. So I am going to go. I'm thinking about who I have for my first touchdown. I don't think he's going to be the first score of the game, though. I'm going to go Dolphins field goal.
Dolphins field goals plus 390 over on BetUS. I was feeling that one too. Use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits, which is insane. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? Well, SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. They also got a myriad of stats, research, trends, analysis to give you even more betting insights. They are all over Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua to do well tonight. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Now, back to old-fashioned football.
Thanks, Jim. All right, we're back. I always thank him, and I feel like it always throws you every time, even though it's normal for me to do it. Or I guess not normal. It's normal for me.
I've got nothing, Justin.
All right.
Are we going to give out?
Should we
best
talk
bets?
about our best
Yeah.
bets? I agree. I think we should get into them. Just Monday night bets right now. Obviously, come back Thursday to get Thursday night football and weekend bets. We're doing very well. I think we're getting close to having a 50-unit profit, which, I mean, honestly, for our first year, or I guess our first season on this podcast, giving out bets, can't complain about that.
I guess you can't.
Better to be plus 50 than negative 50. I've always said that.
So am I going to stop the longest reception bets?
My guess is no.
No, I'm not. Cup is at 21.5. Puka is at 22.5. But I'm going to zig a little and say DeMarcus Robinson, longest reception, over 16.5 yards. It's at -110.
There you go, Nick. You were talking about DeMarcus Robinson, and she pulled through for you. Yeah, I like that. I mean,
and I've got to hope because I need him to do well for me too.
Yeah, right. And he's staying involved in that offense. We saw him get. I know Puka left, but I believe his first touchdown was before Puka got kicked out of the game. I'm going to do a little small parlay. And it's just targeting Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, both over 5.5 receptions. That's 2-1. I think they're both going to be heavily targeted. You could see a 10 catch, 6 catch, or 10 catch, 7 catch. And I'm not going to say who's 10, who's 7. I think it seems to flip for them. But I think that Stafford's going to go after both of them.
Yeah,
So,
they are definitely both targeted heavily.
Yeah, so 5.5 for each. I think that's very doable. So that's at least 6 each, and 2 to 1. I just really like the odds. So should we talk first touchdowns?
Yes.
Little first tutties.
Yes. And I kind of already gave a minor spoiler earlier. Just that,
Spoiler
going
alert.
against going with that Dolphins field goal there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kyren Williams. He broke his streak of scoring a touchdown every game last week. He gets back on track with first touchdown this week at plus 370.
There you go. Eating the chalk again. Take it. I like it. I mean, because when they get in that red zone, they love to feed him. I'm going to go a little bit different route, but same team. I'm going to go with the Rams scoring the first touchdown of the game. Puka really let him down last week. This is not a guy that it becomes a hothead or loses himself like that on the field that we've seen anyways before. And he punched the defender. He gets kicked out. I think he feels bad about it. I think he wants to make up for it. He's like, that's my bad, guys. I got to be better than that. And I think he makes up for it by scoring the first touchdown of the game. Puka Nacua, 8.5 to 1, plus 850. Book it.
All right. So Rams better score first, or
right?
Score a touchdown first.
I will say, and I'm not trying to be like, well, I didn't get it right, but my first thought was right. I will say I almost went with Devon Achane or Raheem Mostert. I almost went with a Dolphins running back, but I was like, nah, Puka, he's feeling bad. He feels bad. He got kicked out of that game.
Have you talked to him?
I have. We
Okay.
personally got on the phone together. And he said, you know what?
Has he put anything out there about it?
I think he probably did. I just didn't pay attention to it.
You just keep referencing the fact of how bad he feels. You just think he feels bad.
He's like, I threw such a good punch that my Uncle Dana, he's going to put me in the UFC. I don't know if there's a clip from his rookie year where he called the UFC guy, Dana White, and called him, and because he apparently helped raise him or something. There was some backstory. Anyways, we're getting derailed there.
And I had no idea where you were pulling this from. So I was just like, I have no idea with you. So let's continue.
That's fair. Should we talk a little whiskey?
Let's do it.
What are we drinking today?
We are drinking 2XO. It is their American Oak Bourbon.
All right. And did you want me to pour while you give a little background? All right.
I've got some background for us.
Okay.
So yeah, we're drinking the 2XO, which stands for 2 times oak. It's made by Dixon Dedman, and it's produced and bottled by Prestige Beverage Group. Every time I say or hear Prestige, I cannot help but think of Prestige Worldwide.
You said that earlier.
Do you not know? Oh, this makes sense.
Something.
Yeah, it's from Step Brothers. This is exactly why you wouldn't know.
Of course it is.
I just can't get over the fact that you hate that movie. But anyway,
get over it.
I was reading Prestige Beverage Group, and Beverage Group was just worldwide. Didn't even read Beverage Group. Anyway,
I know you said it earlier just randomly, and I'm like, what the fuck is
I know, because after looking at all this history, Prestige Worldwide is just stuck in my head.
All right.
I'm gonna make you watch where this comes up.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna just make me watch one part of Step Brothers.
Yes, so that you get it.
I can probably do that.
You can do that. That way you understand. Okay.
All right.
But anyway, Prestige Beverage Group is a major wine and spirits distributor, but they also help with bottling and labeling needs, and they are in Louisville, Kentucky.
Real quick, I hate to interrupt you, but the game will start in a little bit here, and we have a game question here.
Oh, let's answer that. That's important.
Trevor is wondering Hill or Puka. That's tough to decide between, but go ahead.
Puka.
I was also going to say Puka because Hill has that torn ligament in his wrist, allegedly.
Do you know which wrist it is? I guess I don't know if
I don't.
But I mean, catching a ball though, that's going to impact him.
So if that gets to be too much to manage, because they said he's going to try to play through it, but what if he can't? What if the first hit he's out. I think that's too much to risk, so I'm going Puka. All right, sorry.
Wait, we had one more comment that is relevant.
Oh, okay.
Boats, and it's supposed to be boats and hose. Do you know boats and hose?
Yeah, vaguely.
Oh my god. We're gonna watch the whole movie. Not just you have been
I better have a lot of whiskey.
but I mean boats and hose has a lot to do with prestige worldwide.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we're here. Let's answer Elias's question. I have Neighbors and CD as both wide receiver 1 and 2, but they've been way too inconsistent lately. Would you guys trade CD and Gibbs for Achane and Garrett Wilson or Cup?
Okay, let's see.
I don't know if I like getting rid of Gibbs.
I know
think
that's the hard one for me.
But Achane has been pretty solid lately.
I would go.
I would also go
Kupp.
Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
Just because Aaron Rodgers sucks. I mean, he does. Everybody's so surprised. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's doing poorly. They've only won 3 games. Yeah. If you listen to this podcast, you would have known that he's old. He sucks. He couldn't make it back. He's going to have big games. Wilson will have big games. I just think you're going to get more consistency out of it.
If you want the consistent production, like, because this is why you're doing the trade, you know, because Neighbors and CD have been too inconsistent for you, I would go with Cup.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't hate that trade. I think it gives you a good upgrade, for sure. Would you? I'm thinking CD, I guess, is going to be affected. Anyways, he was this first week. Now we saw in the previous years, his production didn't dip that much in fantasy football. So I was almost going to say do Neighbors instead of CD, but Neighbors has just been such a target machine. I can understand that you don't know if you can trust Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, whoever's going to be throwing the ball for him. So, and Trevor's saying a little nervous because of Jalen Ramsey going to be on Puka. Jalen Ramsey has not been as good recently. I've noticed. I think he's trending down. So I'm still confident.
Hopefully he continues that trend.
Yeah, I hope he does.
We're gonna go. He's going down.
Yeah. All right. Giants fan rocking with Neighbors till the end. Okay, I don't blame you then. And he's had a huge target share anyways. So even when Daniel Jones has not looked great, Neighbors is getting a good target share.
Yes.
Feel free to throw more questions in the chat. We'll answer them after our whiskey history here.
Unless we see a game time one. Yeah. So get your game time questions or tonight's game questions in before game time.
Yeah.
So we can get those answered for you. But to go back to our 2XO American Oak Bourbon, we just got done talking about how it's produced and bottled by Prestige Beverage Group, which led to
Worldwide.
Justin having homework that he must watch Step Brothers with me, and he's going to love it this time. You didn't. When was the last time you didn't like it when you're in your 20s? Maybe when you're in your 30s, you'll like it now.
Yeah, maybe my brain got dumber and I'll enjoy it. You're right. As a college college kid, you didn't like it, but maybe now as an adult. I'll give it a try again.
Are you saying I'm dumb?
No, I'm just saying you have poor taste in humor. No, I'm just kidding. I know a lot of people love that movie. I get it.
Yes, and you're just, I don't know. You have a sense of humor, so I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
They just don't.
Anyway, Prestige Beverage Group, located in Louisville, Kentucky. And then Dixon Dedman is a well-known whiskey blender and distiller known for his Kentucky Owl bourbon. Kentucky Owl was made by his great-grandfather up until Prohibition. Dedman bought it, he brought it. I don't know if he bought it, but he brought it back to life in 2014.
Nice.
And then Kentucky Owl was then purchased by the Stoli Group in 2017, and Dedman decided to move on in 2021. However, that was not the end of his blending career, as he then created 2XO. We couldn't find anything anywhere that states whether they distill this whiskey, so I'm guessing they do not, and that they just blend.
Yeah.
Which we do see, like, surprisingly, there are a lot of, whiskey brands out there that they're blends.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just a different way of doing it.
But Dixon Dedman was the pioneer, I guess you could say, of creating additional oak exposure to whiskey after its time in the barrel. And the additional interaction takes more flavor and character from the oak and, kind of as it's finished in a different barrel. So we are trying the American Oak today. What?
Just interesting because we've seen several that
Mhm.
they have that secondary finishing. So it's interesting that he was kind of the first one to do that.
Yeah. We're trying, and we're going to do a little profile here on the American Oak today, which is the first blend in their oak series. Dixon does an additional finishing in charred oak barrels with a moderate amount of rye in the mash bill to create a unique flavor. Anytime I hear like a moderate amount of rye or a higher rye, I get excited about it.
Yeah, you love the high rye.
I do. And then their French oak is the second blend in the oak series, which I had the choice between American oak and French oak, and I wasn't sure which one for sure you wanted to try first out of the two.
Yeah.
But I grabbed the American oak, obviously.
Mhm.
But their French oak, that's pretty easy to figure out. He inserts chains of charred French oak into the barrels with, again, a moderate rye bourbon mash bill. And they also have
Sorry, just to interrupt you. I wonder if they're different mash bills for those.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
They also have a limited release icon series called Sneakerhead, which is a blend of small batches. Dixon is big into sneakers.
Yeah.
And hence the name. I might have told Justin earlier that he's into big sneakers.
You did say that. I was like, what?
He's into big sneakers.
Like he buys Shaq shoes or something? What do you mean?
He goes around and he shops
Finds people with size 23.
But they also have the Gem of Kentucky, which is the only double-barreled single barrel Kentucky straight bourbon on the market, with again a high rye mash bill. It's 35% rye after aging in barrels, and they spend an additional year in new charred oak barrels before bottling.
All right.
So what did you get on the nose?
You smell and think about that. I'm going to answer a question about tonight real quick. Would you all start Tua or Stafford? I have HN. My opponent has Puka. I'm down 17 points. That's tough. I think Tua is going to throw the ball more consistently because of the Rams' defense is not as great against the pass. Dolphins' defense decent against the pass, but
I do think
with
Puka's...
What you think? What?
Go ahead. I think Puka's gonna have a good game, so Stafford's gonna be the.
Yeah, I kind of like starting Stafford because your opponent has Puka. Because then when Puka's scoring, you're at least getting something, right? You're getting if he scores a touchdown, you get a passing touchdown. If he gets yards, you're getting yards. So I kind of like countering that with Puka or with Stafford.
You're just not getting obviously You're not getting quite the exact points points there. But
yeah.
But then you're also going to get, Puka's not going to be his only target. So you're going to get the points from Stafford going to Cup or,
And Nick Fortune will.
I don't mind that because that kind of is like a little safety net.
Yeah. Yeah.
In case Tua tanks for whatever reason.
Well, and if Hill ends up aggravating his wrist injury, then he obviously doesn't have his top option. So that could make it for a worse game. So, yeah, I think I would go Stafford. Nick will answer your question after the review here since it's not related to tonight's game. I like the question. So, obviously the first thing that jumps out at me is oak, which is
It is very, very oak forward.
Yeah, with double oak. Drew will get you in 1 second here. It's very oak forward. And all right, we'll answer you now.
He's begging. And it is a tonight's game question.
Down 20, have Tua and either Tyreek or Puka. My opponent has Cup. Who do I start? You start Puka, I think. We had one other person ask this too.
Tyreek makes me nervous because of that wrist injury that he mentioned. And that's going to, if he really does have that injury, it's going to affect catching the ball. And he might aggravate it enough to where he can't really play.
Yeah,
depending
that's my
on how
concern.
The game goes.
If you have a torn ligament in your wrist, you're going to be in pain.
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious. So one wrong hit or
that's
even
what I'm
extending
thinking. I'm
to
thinking
reach,
he gets hit, if he has the ball and he gets hit or something and he lands wrong on that wrist,
landing, you can't brace yourself but it's an instinct as you're falling down to brace yourself. So if he puts that wrist down, it could be game over for him. He could be out the rest of the game. So
okay. So
I would go Puka.
Oh, I was thinking we had another. Never mind. He has Tua. I was like, do we have to start Tua? No, I get it.
So, Calvo, Drew,
Mhm.
thanks for checking in. If you're not subscribed, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Helps us a lot. We appreciate you checking in. Thursday, we'll be back with start sits as well, so we can help you out then. All right. So you smell oak.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This whiskey segment is giving me ADHD.
Right. Do you get anything else besides oak?
Butter.
Butter?
Is that what I smell? Hang on.
I think I can see where you're getting that, because when I
Butter.
tasted it, I think you just described what I'm tasting. Like
Really?
warm
Okay.
butter. But
well, yeah, I get it's oak hits you at first, but you got to keep sniffing because there's something that follows, and I think it's buttery. It's butter.
Try it and tell me what you think.
Warm butter, melted butter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need a couple tastes while I
Yeah,
answer
I've got to
question?
do 3. Answer.
All right. Kabbalah's saying Cup or Hill tonight, PPR, down 1, going against Puka. Thanks, and hit the like. We appreciate you hitting the like.
Thank you.
We keep alluding to Hill. He has this torn ligament in his wrist. I know he's
Mhm.
playing through it, but I'm concerned that a wrong hit takes him out of the game. So if you have an option like Cup, which is a good option,
It is a good option.
I would start him.
And only because I do think that Tyreek Hill, it's risky.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't normally tell people, oh, sit Hill.
Right. Agreed.
But it's risky.
But
I think there's risk.
Yeah. If you were between like Tyreek Hill and Odell Beckham Jr., who's making his first start for the Dolphins, then I would say keep Hill in.
Yeah.
Right. But or if it was even Hill and Demarcus Robinson, I think I would.
But
pick
a lot
Hill
of these
because he got the big boom.
questions, yeah, we're
But
talking
Puka,
about Puka
Kupp,
and Cup,
Yeah.
which
They're
also studs.
Yeah.
So I would go with the safer stud, which is Cup.
Yep. I agree. All right.
Hopefully we don't steer anybody wrong here.
Right.
Because I do at the same time, like I do have that like weird, like it's weird to say sit Hill, but yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. And you're welcome, Bala. Thanks for checking in.
Yes.
You're supposed to be tasting.
Oh
when
yeah, I
was
was
answering
tasting.
that.
See, but I can't help it. We're being asked questions and I have
know.
opinions.
This has a really unique
Mhm.
flavor. I really like the flavor.
It's really oaky. It reminds me of an
It's very
oaky
oaky.
wine, but no wine flavor.
Give you an oaky afterbirth.
But it's a first birth. Like it's not a first. It's not an afterbirth. It's a pre-birth.
What?
Because the oak hits right away. It's not an after. Like it doesn't finish with oak, so it's the oaky afterbirth.
Yeah. It's very oaky for sure.
That's what hits you first is that oak, but it's like a dry oak.
Yeah. There's something else there, a little sweet.
Mhm.
I really liked it.
Apple.
I don't know if I get apple, but
Hold on.
I really like the flavor though. I know it's very oaky. I get that, but I like it a lot. I think this
It's
is
not apple. There's a fruit there.
yeah.
Not your like sweet fruits necessarily.
Mhm.
Maybe kind of. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it's really interesting because the oak has like it's at first it feels a little dry in your mouth, but it
Mhm.
immediately isn't with what follows because it's a very nice feel to it.
Yeah. It's not thin on the mouthfeel, but it's a little thinner than some of what we have been drinking
Mhm.
recently. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have that. It's not like the creamy texture or whatever. It's not a bad mouthfeel. It's just a little thinner than some of them that
Mhm.
we've had recently. It's hard to get anything besides just oak for the flavor.
No, there's a
But it's
fruit
a
there.
very-
I'm not always good at.
Baked apricots.
It's not apricot.
Baked pear.
Baked apple.
Baked apple. I don't know. I don't get
No
fruit.
sugar.
No sugar. I don't get fruit out of it. There's a little sweetness, but it's not fruit for me. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe the
It's
warm sweet butter. I don't know.
no. I'm just not
No.
good at it. A currant. Is
Like
that a
how-
fruit? Is that one of those currant?
First of all, you keep saying a current like
No.
occur.
A no.
And
Doesn't your mom make scones with currants? in them?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they're
The
currants.
Irish ones, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's
Is that what I'm
it is.
tasting?
I can't begin to describe or guess what you're tasting.
Okay.
It's not what I'm tasting, but that doesn't mean it's not what you're tasting. So
But overall, like, okay, so we're just trying to pin down the flavors in this, but it's interesting.
yeah. No,
It's not
I
like-
really like it.
It's not like other things we've tried before.
Yeah. And I think it's going to I think that oakiness is
It's
going
gonna
to stand out.
in
Yeah.
a-
Yeah.
It
I'm
would
excited
make
to try
if
that.
you did like you know how you have that smoked bourbon sugar?
Mhm.
I feel like making old fashioned with that and this oakiness. This doesn't have a smoky or I don't really pick up. I know it's like all the chard, but I don't really
Yeah.
pick up on that chard.
No. Agreed.
I just feel like this would just make a good smoked old fashioned
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
if you just smoke it.
Yeah. I think this is definitely worth a try.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is the 2XO American oak. They've got the French oak as well. We'll have to try sometime. But
Mhm. Oh, you did get it?
no.
Oh, I thought
I
you
said
said
they've-
we've got it. I was
no,
like,
they've
wait,
got-
when did we get that?
No, calm down. They have the French oak as well, I said. But yeah, no, this is really good. I really
Mhm.
like it. It's different. It's different, but a good
And we'll
different.
see on Thursday if you want to come back and see how we think it is in an old fashioned.
Yeah.
We'll let you know how it stands out.
Yeah, start sits, best bets, answering your questions in the chat Thursday, and drinking an old fashioned. If you like old fashions, make one and drink it with us while we're doing the podcast. And if you don't, shout out to our unofficial sponsor, Liquid Death. This is my second of today. I spent a lot of today being a lumberjack. I celebrated, especially before I keep going. I meant to do this at the beginning of the podcast, but happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
And shout out
thank you
to
for
all the
remembering.
veterans.
We know a lot of them.
Yes, we know a lot of them from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast hosts, both of them, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb. If you don't listen to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, you're basically saying you don't like veterans. So you should probably be subscribed and listening. Or what kind of message are you sending to the children? To your Uncle Brent, who to Sebastian, who is the DGen doc, who's always given great injury reports. Justin Kinsey, our buddy. I'm sure I'm missing people as well, but
yeah, you're missing a lot of people. We just
we know a lot of them. But anyways, happy veterans. We're a very pro-veteran family and podcast. So and I spent Veterans Day, with one of America's favorite pastimes, playing with wood. Outside.
How dare you?
Splitting wood, loading wood, unloading wood, stacking wood. That was my day for Veterans Day. And yeah.
I was not expecting that. So thanks, Justin. Thanks for that.
Yes, you're welcome. I made sure to go ahead and let Rod and Cody and your uncle know that's how is celebrating their
I'm
sacrifice.
sure they all appreciated you for all your hardwood.
Hardwood.
No, hard.
Never said anything
I was
about
saying
hardwood.
hard woodworking. This has gone so
No, you
wrong.
said you're hardwood. Yes, I sent them unsolicited pictures. Wesley saying not football related, but what are you guys thinking of the Paul versus Tyson fight coming up Friday? Well, first of all, I'm really excited to see it. Miranda doesn't know this yet, but we are going to be watching it Friday night.
Oh, well,
live on
thank
Netflix.
you for helping facilitate the conversation of our plans on Friday.
Right. And as far as who I think is going to win, I think Mike Tyson's going to win. Mike Tyson, I've seen that guy cry during interviews, talking about he's glad he doesn't fight anymore because he doesn't like the person he becomes when he's in a fight. Because Mike Tyson's got like this killer in him. And I just think it seems like every video I've watched, I know he's older. I know he's a lot older than Jake Paul, but it just seems like he's unlocked that killer again. And it's going to be really interesting, but I think he's going to wipe the floor with him.
And I can't give you my opinion because I didn't, until this question was asked, I didn't even know this was happening on Friday, let alone that this would be my Friday night.
You knew.
No, I did not.
We've talked about it before.
Well, was I listening?
Probably not. And then Nick had a random question. I wanted to revisit this. Does ranch dressing belong on hot wings or not? Yeah, Absolutely. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a great cooling factor to kind of offset the spice. So yeah, I fully support
Is there
ranch.
somebody who thinks not? Are you arguing with somebody about this? I'd like to know a little bit more about
Yeah,
why
what's
this
the-
is being
What's
asked.
the background here?
But yeah, I mean, I could dip a spicy chicken wing in ranch.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
like the offsetting factor of that.
Mhm.
No, this Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight is gonna be really fun. I'm really excited to see it.
And again, I had no idea this was happening, and that
Surprise!
and this was my Friday night. Thank you. I'm so excited.
It's gonna be over in 5 minutes.
yeah.
5 minutes. Jake Paul is a really good athlete.
Mhm.
I will say that. But he has never taken a hit from a guy like Mike Tyson, I feel like. And so, yeah, I think it'll be over quickly. I would like you to call my brother, the mayor of Cresco, Iowa, Alex Fortune, and say that to him. All right, I will just call
We will
Cresco.
call
I'll ask for the mayor
mayor.
and say it should be basically in the Constitution that ranch belongs on hot wings. So we'll see how he does with that. Miranda's
I don't
not
know
going
that.
far.
I'm not saying it belong. I'm saying it. You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do
You can
ranch
do
on
it.
your hot wings.
Do you have anything else? We got derailed a little bit, but
we
it was
did.
fun.
We were wrapping up. Good
Yeah.
derailments. Thank
Yeah.
you everybody in the chat and
Yeah, we appreciate y'all for listening.
enlightening me to my Friday night plans that did not know. I'm really
We got 2 TVs. It can be on the secondary TV. I don't need to hear it. I just want to
just
see
need to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, so it can be
Whatever
the
we do on
secondary
Friday
TV.
night, you'll have it up on your phone if we're not home.
Yeah, absolutely. Channing saying enjoy the game, appreciate the content. Thank you for checking in. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. To Channing, Nick, Randy, Kathy, Wesley, Josiah, Kabbalah,
Margie, season.
yeah, Margie, Season, Drew, Calvo, Trevor, Elias. I'm sure I'm missing some people from the beginning, but we appreciate all you guys.
Mhm.
And the Philly Mike OG.
Yes.
Shout out to all you guys for showing up. It makes this a lot more fun for us when you're in the chat talking, even when it's not about football. It makes it a lot more fun to chat with
if
you
you
guys.
want us to talk some have some shenanigans on the show.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
nonsense.
We love shenanigans and nonsense. So, but yeah, shout out to you guys for showing up. We appreciate it. And if you're listening to the podcast forum, we appreciate that too. So don't feel like we're leaving you out just because you weren't at the YouTube.
Mhm.
So, Miranda, my whiskey's about gone. It was a hard day of working the wood, so I'm probably gonna pour a little bit more. Loosen the back muscles a little bit with some whiskey. How's yours over there? She's got no words for me.
I would have words for you if we weren't on our podcast. Mine is just about gone, but it was some really good whiskey.
Going once, going twice.
Sold.